So earlier we were talking about investments, and Sean was telling me that he's getting into some stocks and stuff. What is it that like you think like you want to do with that stuff,
I'd
like
like
with
to know
stocks and
more about
everything?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is like what do you think like one of your goals would be?
My goals with like investment would just be to figure out a way to make it passive.
Yeah. Yeah. So lots of like
dividends and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, like with dividends.
yeah,
Nice, yeah.
dividend producing.
That's all my
stuff.
grandpa cares about.
Mhm.
Because, as he likes to tell me, because we're young, he's like, Sean, you gotta be more risk adverse. And then, I guess, is that what you would call it? Like, we want to take more risks, right?
Yeah.
And I guess he would be risk adverse because he doesn't want to take risks.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because, he's trying to save his money. And we're trying to keep building our money. So
And a lot of people go, like, when they take that route, and because I've seen this as well, like, in older people, they really tend to buy into, like, government CDs, government bonds, and things like that.
Yeah.
And so, like...
I wouldn't recommend that CDs to young people at all.
Well, I mean, the way it works when
Unless
you
had a lot.
when you understand the economics, or, like, when you're in or trying to participate in those economics, then... like it makes sense to invest into that, but financially you're going to get a smaller gain from investing in a bond or something like that than you would investing in a higher paying, like
you're locked in
dividends or things like that.
Thing.
Yeah.
You can't take the money out for 20 years or 10
or
years.
15,
whatever
I think.
It is. Yeah,
Oh
15.
my gosh, you can't take it out.
No, you put in 20 grand, right, in a CD.
Mm-hmm.
It's locked in for 15 years.
I've
And you're
never
gonna
15
get,
years and
you're
it
gonna
turns
get
to like
interest, right?
But like, is it a lot of interest or is it like not a lot?
it's like 2%
Yeah,
per
exactly.
whatever.
It's for
It-
people that have
it
so much
varies.
money, right? That you're like, okay, literally have 25 extra grand that I have nothing to do with CD.
Okay,
Is it the best investment to do if you have 25 grand? No.
Oh, so like, what would you get back?
So when you invest in government bonds, what it is you are paying...
government bond. I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
a CD.
Yeah, okay.
Same thing. So when you invest in those, you're investing into the U.S. government.
Yeah.
And so when you invest in stock markets or crypto exchanges, with crypto, you're buying into blockchain technology,
Yeah.
which is what powers all of the cryptocurrencies.
Mhm.
So that is funded. Plus, you're buying like the currency. So,
Yeah.
like, say you're looking for Bitcoin or whatever.
Mhm.
That is a section that comes off of the blockchain. That is like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And with crypto, with stocks, you're buying into the companies.
Yeah, the company. And with the CDs,
Is
it's
it-
like the government where you're investing in America.
What's up, guys? This is the What's Next podcast, and today we are sitting here with Lori Ann Pate, who is a local artist in Huntsville. She's a photographer, and she's got her business that she's been running for how long has it been?
Since January.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
okay.
So not that long.
Mm-mm. But you're doing some pretty big things,
Yeah.
which is cool, and we've got some questions for you. So one thing that I wanted to talk about was what got you into photography. Like, was it somebody in your family? Was it something like that?
Well, I've always really liked art,
Mm-hmm.
and fashion, and just pop culture, and I don't know. I'm not really a school person, so
Yeah.
it was kind of just like art was always what I really, really wanted to do. But I was like, oh, I can't do that. Like, I can't be a photographer. It's not realistic. And then I really sat down and I made a plan,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I.
That's when you
got
kind
my
of
business.
decided.
Yeah.
Is there
Gotcha.
anybody that you looked up to and that motivated you, or that you were like, they do photography and you're like, oh, this inspires me to want to go into photography?
Yeah, probably Anna Marie Tendler. She was married to John Mulaney, a comedian, and after their divorce, she's a makeup artist, and then she really got into photography, and seeing her post and her photos and her artwork, I was really just kind of like, man, I really need to get into this so I could do that too.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to classify that as a style, what would you say it would be?
Her style, probably true to life, I guess.
Okay.
Just kind of like she'll do
Like realism or something?
pop surrealism. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, because that's art I really like. That would be Mark writing and stuff. But yeah, that's kind of just realistic things, but it's just done in a way where it's very pop culture. Like hers is pictures of her at a table and she's alone. Like, that's to signify what she went through with her divorce and just things like that. Those are the photographs and photographers that I really, really love. Just when the work is just so powerful.
When it feels like there's a real meaning behind it.
Yeah.
Is that something that you try to do with, like, I know you do wedding stuff, and for the individual that can obviously be incredibly meaningful, and the experience that you give them to be able to kind of, I guess, experience that day, you know, later on in the future.
Well, I think I always try to, like, make sure I'm capturing their moments, and I like things to be very candid. I don't like, you know, like, we're not about to go and you're about to just send me, we're not about to just take a bunch of pictures, like I don't have a bunch of poses in my head that I'm like, okay, I know they're going to do these. I just kind of do it naturally, and if you make sure they're very comfortable, usually people just, you don't have to direct them very much, because when it's, like, really candid, that's, like, the best.
Is that a challenge? Like, I'm sure you had challenges to, like, building your company that you've had, but is that a challenge working with different clients that maybe they don't get comfortable for a shot or something?
Well, I think the biggest thing in the beginning was my confidence. Like, I was like, I'm going to mess this up. They're not going to like my work. Like, my type of photography is fine art, which means, you know, it's, like, my style. And I'm not light and airy or all that. It's just, I do it my way. But it's just very artistic. And not everyone's a fan of that. But, so I was very worried when I first started. I was like, oh, I'm going to mess this up. Like, I'm going to be late. And I have a lot of anxiety, so it was really hard for me to just meet people I'd never met before. And just, you know, it was a learning curve for sure. Like, I don't think I've got... Every single time I have a session, I get better, I feel. Like, I learn more every single time. And my very first session I had, which was in January, that was a mess. I was so nervous. It was an at-home... Like, they wanted a lifestyle. Like, they just bought a new house. It was a couple. And they wanted, like, romantic photos and stuff. And I was so nervous. And I was like, I don't know how to post it. I don't know how to... Like, I was just kind of winging it. Like, I was looking at Pinterest. I was like... I was pulling it up on the
when
side.
your photographer shows up looking at Pinterest on your phone.
But it's like, I knew how to take photos. It was just, when you're there, you're, like, so anxious. And I was just like, I'm going to mess it up. And I'm... You know, like, lighting, like, these are all things I know, but when you're there, it just kind of, like, escapes your mind. And that was a really good experience because, luckily, they knew I was a beginner. And they
it probably wasn't as bad as you think.
I know, So, like, I left, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was terrible. And they were like, and then they messaged me after, and they were like, that was the best experience I've ever had with a photographer. And I was like, oh, thank goodness.
That's awesome.
So, I love feedback like that. And... You know, usually, like, after getting off wedding consultation calls, like, they'll say, oh, I love how, you know, you actually take your time to create a timeline, or you're very involved with your clients. And
you're friendly, too. That's a big thing, because I know maybe if you get to that level of success as a photographer, that you're just like, okay, another job, another thing to do. But, you know, if you're still, like, you know, young and new and getting in there, then you're going to be more, like, you know, friendly to people and more, like, personal, you know, exactly.
That's it means one thing I definitely try to do, and I've noticed that when I was really studying and looking at other people in the industry, it is kind of just like that. Like, there's a lot of people here in Huntsville that are just like, okay, well, I'm $1,000, and you want to pay me? Bye. Like, for me, I like to listen to what they want, and I understand not everyone can afford my prices, and, you know, I can accommodate that. Like, I can work with them, and like, that's actually something I just did. I made a package for people that just want a few photos, and maybe they don't want a whole session, and I think that will be a lot more, you know,
that might get you more work as well.
Because I don't really care about the money. I mean, I know that's I just love taking pictures of people, and I love the art of photography.
So while we're talking about weddings, what do you think, I mean, do you think Huntsville is properly equipped with, like, the places and the event spaces for these events, like for weddings or
I feel like it would be,
other
not even
things
being
like
a
that?
photographer, I feel like it would be, right?
It depends on what you want. So that's the thing.
Like
I like fine art, and I like to incorporate a lot of antique and vintage things.
Right.
So, like, just think like old Hollywood and like
Like an old
very-
building or
very-
old
yeah,
steps
very
or
vintage,
something.
like classic, very
Mhm.
glamorous. Like those are things I like, and I try to incorporate that in my work. So I can't really do that at a barn, and we have a lot of like barn venues and
Event
But
stuff.
yeah, that's
spaces, yeah.
typical wedding photos, barn.
Well,
you
that's
know.
different if it's a venue. I'm talking like engagement.
But you know, that's like I've seen a million pictures of people out in front of a barn. you
Yeah.
know.
Well, that's not really my style. 'Cause I work with what I have, but fields are great. That's kind of what I do a lot of here because we have a lot of fields. But yeah, finding things that are my style, it's very hard. The Whedon House is probably number one here. But generally, I just go to Nashville because Nashville has all the venues and
Yeah.
I mean Nashville's like one of the biggest bachelorette destinations. So just you have to really look. And I
Yeah.
think that's the thing a lot of photographers they don't share. Like if there were any beginner photographers that would ask me where I go, I would totally tell them. Because it's like I'm not going to gatekeep that, and that's one thing a lot of photographers do is they just don't share because they don't want anyone to
Thinking about that's one thing I really wanted to ask you. Thinking about any upcoming photographers that want to like get into it and actually make money off of it, because I know I'm sure a lot of people do it as hobbies.
Yeah.
But like, what would be like what are the things, or what would be like the first thing that you have to do to like make money? Like, do you have to try to market? Like, you maybe take like a portfolio and then try to market your portfolio,
Well,
or like
what I did, so I actually hired a photography coach.
really?
Yeah, her name is Elizabeth.
Like a mentor.
And yeah, exactly. And Elizabeth's awesome. She helped me so much. Like she's a photographer as well, and she just like I had nothing, and I was just like, okay, well, here's my plan. Can you help me build off of that? And we worked together, and she really helped me shape my business. And she told me how, like, okay, well, you need to market on this way, but I think her program is Roadmap to Booked, and I can give that to you if you want to link it, but she just really goes into depth on how to market and things you need to do and what other people do wrong and how to have a proper website. And those are things I didn't know. Like I know a lot. I know how to edit photos. I know how to.
What
do all
was
the
your
graphic
biggest
design.
challenge?
My biggest challenge was the marketing because I
Really?
had no previous
But
knowledge.
she gave you
And
some
she gave me that knowledge.
So it's really like if you're going into a certain thing, you want to kind of find a mentor to guide you. I guess that's
And
pretty.
the thing with her is that
pretty
she was like
thing.
a real person. And a lot of the photography programs are like pre-made videos. Elizabeth's real, and she she helped me one-on-one. And I don't think I would be where I
How did you find her?
would be. She found me.
How did that happen?
So
From Instagram or something?
Well, I was like watching a lot of. I was watching a lot of YouTube videos on photography and how to start a business because
right.
where else am I going? I was reading a lot of
As
business
you
books,
do.
and I followed one of the biggest. Her name's Joy Michelle, and she makes lots of videos for photographers. Followed her on Instagram, and immediately I get a follow from Elizabeth, and then I was just kind of like.
And she was from Huntsville.
No, she actually lives in California.
Oh wow!
So she followed me, and I followed her back because I was like, oh, I want to follow her tips. And she messaged me, and she actually helped me buy my first professional camera.
Wow.
Yeah.
She invested in it?
Yeah. Well, not really, but she just helped me pick it out.
Oh,
She just told me all
gotcha.
that because there's lots of options.
Mm-hmm.
So she was really awesome. But she messaged me, and she slid in my DMs.
Did you
And-
pay her or anything for
I'll get to that.
for mentoring?
Yeah.
Okay,
She calls.
okay.
And so she messaged me, and I thought she was fake.
Yeah, because information's not free.
Well, she does give free information, but she messaged me, and I was a little scared. 'Cause I
Right,
was
you
just
think
like,
it's a scam.
I know it's a scam.
You know,
And then she's
yeah.
like, I'm going to have a consultation call. I'm going to get on my consultation call. And, she works her magic, obviously. I mean, I booked with her. I had her as a mentor. And, at first I was just kind of like, okay, well, this is a big investment. She's like you have to put in money to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, yeah,
so
of
at the
course.
first when I heard how much she was, I was just kind of like, whoa, like that's college tuition pretty much. Like
It was like $2 grand.
What'd you say?
Like $2 grand.
I think it varies depending on what you do. I know private coaching is $900 a month, and that's what I will do eventually. Right now I don't have her. I'm in just the Roadmap to Booked. I was gonna do private coaching, but I just couldn't afford it to be honest. But I will get with her again in the future, and because she's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So she has this program.
Yeah, she has Roadmap to Booked, and that one I don't recall how much it was, but I was also I was one of her very first students, and so it was another girl, Jordan, and we were in the program, and we had weekly one-on-one calls. We private Voxer access. Voxer is like a messaging app, and Elizabeth would help us like literally just build our businesses, like me from nothing.
Mm-hmm.
She told me how to post, what to post, and really use, because Instagram is my biggest marketing. I guess where I get a lot of my clients and my inquiries.
Yeah.
Do you do Instagram ads?
I've
or is
never
it
done
just
that.
is it just from people that have
posting.
seen your?
Just posting,
Wow,
and
okay.
I don't really
You should
do
do Instagram ads.
I know.
You
That'd
should.
be
They
cool.
literally cost. I mean, you can determine the cost range. Like you could spend $10, or you could spend $10,000. I would recommend. You could go in $25, and you could go in and find. You can put in different specifications of people you want to market to.
Mm-hmm.
So you pick like, okay, I want to market to either like people in their late 30s maybe that are getting married, or early 30s that are getting married, or late 20s, whatever, and then just try to find your exact market that's best for you, and then you do those ads, and you put a good maybe a couple photos that you've taken. Oh yeah. That'll help, trust me. Just even $25, it'll help.
Yeah.
I've made a lot of money off Instagram ads.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna look into that. That's a really good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know Elizabeth, I think the first thing she made me do was create an ideal client. And that's one thing that's crazy so she made me really sit there and just, who do you want to, be your clientele? And I created my client. And my very first wedding I booked my ideal client was a girl who was 35. She lived in Brentwood, Tennessee. She had brunette hair.
No way, and this was all legit, like the first
and my
person.
first wedding I booked was the venue's in Brentwood, Tennessee.
Wow.
And it fits up
crazy.
very close.
Wow.
The only big difference is like the name and like occupation. But yeah,
That's crazy.
I like literally manifested that, and I don't even believe in that. So. Yeah, it was really crazy because, I think that strategy really works. Like when you are like, okay, say my ideal clients are celebrities. Where do celebrities hang out? You need to market and really look at where they're hanging out. Like just things like that. That works pretty much for any business.
Mm-hmm. What is all of that is so interesting.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. I think this industry really. It's changed so much, especially with technology.
Mm-hmm.
Photography industry.
Yeah. What is like one of your biggest challenges with creating like a presence? So like you're talking about Instagram ads and marketing. What is like the way that you made it so that people in Huntsville and Nashville find out about you?
Well, I post on my stories every single day.
Mm-hmm.
That's my biggest one. So people know I'm real.
Yeah.
That is good.
They know I'm I'm just a real person, and I'm active, and I post twice a week now. I used to post once a week, and geotags help a lot. But my biggest way of making a presence is just, I have my own style.
Mm-hmm.
I don't just try to. What I've noticed, like here, I don't want to really name drop, but there's a photographer, and she does the videos, Caitlin James, and she sells a preset pack. A preset is like what you can do on Lightroom, and pretty much blank photo, put the preset on, you're done. You don't have to edit it. Like that edits the photo. And so what I noticed when I was starting to get into photography, once you've seen that, like, that people do that, you can recognize and be like, oh, everyone just uses the preset. And to me, that's not my brand. I do things my own way. I do have a few presets to make things look film, because that's what all my work looks like. But that's not the same. It's just like...
Yeah.
And so then when that happens is everyone's using the Caitlin James preset or whatever, everyone's work looks the same, and it's not really... You kind of just blend in. And when you do something different, you stand out.
Yeah, for sure. Has that been hard, like, that standing out and not... I mean, you've obviously been successful with everything that you've been doing with people like your style. But what is it that like makes you different besides, I guess, the style? Is it the customer interactions, the experiences that they have?
Well, I think my number one thing when
with
it
you?
comes to weddings is that I don't have set prices.
Mhm.
I have consultation calls. So if I have someone who's like, okay, I want you to photograph my wedding, I'm like, okay, well, we'll get on a consultation call, and I want to talk to you, learn more about you, your partner, and what do you want on your wedding day? Like, do you want, obviously you want the ceremony photograph, but do you want getting ready? Some people don't want getting ready. Some people want the reception. Some people don't. Some people want the rehearsal. And just really customizing and learning things like, are your photos with your grandma the most important? And I write all it down. And, I just really take the time to learn about the person and make something for them.
Yeah.
I don't have just a set price.
Right.
And so depending on what they do, of course, that different price. But I do things like that, and then I create a timeline. And that's one thing I didn't know other photographers didn't do, but I create custom timelines for all my brides. So they tell me, okay, I want getting ready. I'm like, all right, we'll get at the venue at 8 o'clock. And then I'm going to do your getting ready photos from 8:45 to 2 or just whatever it is.
Or obviously you adjust for when the ceremony and all that
Yeah,
is.
yeah. And I have custom timelines, and a lot of photographers don't do that. And so that's one thing
That sets you apart.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I wish more photographers did that. Just because
Yeah.
I feel bad for people that are just, like, they just want the money. They don't actually care about the artwork or that they're having a memorable moment, because it's a big investment.
It is.
I mean, wedding photography is not cheap, and if it is cheap,
people wouldn't be doing it. Yeah.
well, no, it's.
I mean, I guess people would, but
sacrificing on quality.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
But that's the thing is, I booked weddings without even doing a wedding. But I told them that, and it was just my experience.
Well, at least you didn't lie. That's good.
Yeah, no. How can I lie to them?
Hey, I mean, you never know. I mean, sure, people, you don't tell people that. Like, you walk into a barbershop or a haircut place, salon, right? And your normal person's not there. Like, I know, I don't care. I'll take anyone. But it's like, I mean, you can probably tell that. But would you want to go to the person that sit there and said, this is my first time cutting your hair, and then there's somebody over there be like, I've done this a while.
Yeah, from the customer standpoint,
you got to just fake it until you know.
No, it's not that. It's just honestly, to be honest, the way I did it was I would tell them it's a grand opening. You have a grand opening offer. Because that's saying I'm new, but I'm not new to photography. I'm just new to the business. So I'm not giving them.
You're like my first client.
Yeah, never say that.
But hey, you did though.
To my very first client, she found me on Instagram. I had posted a few photos I had taken. She contacted me immediately. She lived in Huntsville, and she's like, "Hey, can you come over tomorrow let's see, she must be on, she's like, can you come over tomorrow to do a home session?" And I was just like, wow, like, I didn't even know what to charge. I was just like, okay, $75.
Yeah.
And she ended up giving me way more than that, but I don't remember how much it was. And but yeah, I was very scatterbrained in the beginning.
That's
and I was
crazy.
just like, $75, okay, yeah, thank you. You have to be very elaborate with all that stuff, just because I seriously knew nothing. I just knew how to take a photo,
Was this before you got in contact with your mentor? Did your mentor help you with pricing at all?
Yeah, she helped me a lot. I believe when I had my first client, that was right when I got Elizabeth. Because Elizabeth and I were just talking in December, and I really had my idea really was created in November, but I didn't get a camera or really anything, or really start marketing or anything till, actually I take it back, I probably didn't start my business really fully until February, but my first client was in January, so I kind of just...
So, like, I like how you're saying you kind of know the timeline of when you start everything. So, let's say we're in April now, about to be in May. Where do you see yourself, or what are your goals? Like, what was, like, if you, by the time, like, December or January rolls around, so it'll be, like, a year of your business, where do you, like, want to be? Like, where do you have, like, a goal of, like, this is how many shoots I want to have under my belt, or how much money I want to make from this? Or
That's actually what Elizabeth does for her pricing. She's like, okay, how much you want to make a year? and then how many people do you want to photograph, and then that's how you get your pricing.
Mm-hmm.
But,
And then you scale from there, right?
I've already reached all my goals that I wanted
Really?
to. Yeah, because it all happened so fast, and that's because of Elizabeth.
Your goals
like,
are too low. You gotta
No,
set
like,
them higher.
That's what happens.
That's what happens.
You
You
make
set-
your goals and then
and
you
you
reach
scale.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, so you've
So-
already reached your goals for the year. What are new goals for the year?
Well, probably just I really want to get into styled shoots where like I'm kind of orchestrating the whole thing, and I'll provide a dress, and I could do hair and makeup, so I would probably do that. And it's just very artistic, and like kind of like Anna Marie's her work, just very like it's an editorial. I pick it, and it's just,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Yeah.
I love those styled shoots, but there's actually a big market for it in photography because it is a really big secret. But there's this thing called styled shoots across America, and it's styled shoots, and photographers pay like $200 to $400 a ticket. It's like a mock wedding. So there's these models dressed up, and their hair and their makeup's done. Photographers take pictures.
So you
and
just
use
get it in your
the
portfolio. Yeah.
So like when the average customer sees it, they're like, "Whoa, I want my photos to look like that." You're not guaranteed your photos are gonna look like that, but
So is it?
that's probably like a really big secret.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
I've
you
never
would
done
do
that.
that as a photographer if you didn't already have a portfolio.
I would recommend that. Yeah.
If you didn't have one, because if you already have
Yeah.
one, then what's the point of paying to get more? You know, when
Well,
you're getting
just-
paid to get them for free.
Well, just like expanding your portfolio. I've put together styled shoots, but I've never paid to go to one.
Yeah.
I would love to do it where I'm doing that.
And you get there you go. See, business. You
That's
could
one
make
of
a
my goals.
business.
Yeah.
There you go. Do that.
I
That
would
would be
love to do that.
genius.
But yeah, like if you have no portfolio, you totally need to do things like that because you have to get yourself out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I luckily had years and years of work, but I couldn't use that.
Yeah,
in my
because it wasn't what
portfolio.
you wanted.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so I built up my, my portfolio, my Instagram. I have it planned out for like 3 months. I think my Instagram's planned out for 3 months.
Nice.
And just doing things like that, like those are things I really was working on this year because it all happened so fast. I didn't think I was going to book a wedding this year. Like,
Mhm.
I didn't think I was going to get a client this year. Like, I thought I was just going to be building my portfolio, and I still am building my portfolio, of course. But
Yeah.
it happened a lot faster than I thought it would.
Let's wrap up with what is a crazy story from a shoot that you've been involved in?
Well, so I have many crazy stories, but I will talk about one that happened very recently. So I did I was kind of approached by someone that we knew, and she wanted me to take photos of her kids for springtime. And I was like, okay, yeah, $300 for just the session she wanted was $300. That's at the time that was my lowest.
What does that include?
That was an hour.
Like an hour time?
Session with 15 photos. I think I did 10 at the
Okay,
time.
can I get into photography? $300 an hour?
Well, so I was approached, and we agreed on the price there, and I was like, okay, we set a date, everything was good. There was some behind the scene conversation with people I know, where I wasn't even going to be paid, because this is one thing that's been driving me crazy is I've not been taken seriously by people I know, and it's like, oh, well, you're a beginner, like, you're not a real business.
Mm-hmm.
I experienced a lot of that, and that really frustrated me because people want things for free, and it's just, that was a whole thing I experienced, and I still experience that, not being respected, and that was a learning curve.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, for sure.
to be honest, I did not handle that well, and it was just, so this was just one of those
So wait,
experiences.
she was being disrespectful?
Well, I'll get to that. So something went on behind the scenes to where she wasn't going to pay me. So
Like while you were there, or like
just
afterwards?
between people we knew, and they were like, well, she's a beginner, she shouldn't even be charging. And so that just was pretty much what went on, and I didn't know about
What
it.
she said
so,
was like, did she say at the time like, it'll get to you later or something?
No, when I met her originally and we were discussing this, she's like, okay, I'll pay you, I'm gonna pay you in
Right,
full.
right,
And I didn't give her a contract. I always give contracts, but I didn't give her a contract because I knew her.
Mistake.
And I didn't have a deposit, and it's just, you know, because I know her very well.
Right. See,
so
that's
it
what
was just
happens
kinda
when
like,
you do work for friends.
Yeah, never.
You just if it's for a friend, it's just for free, or it's like if you're
don't do
you
it for
know,
free. You need to set boundaries. But I'll get
But
to that.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so
But if it's like a really good, you know.
Yeah, so like the day of the shoot, she's trying to cancel, and I already.
Really? So you didn't even get there yet, and she's trying to cancel.
Yeah, and I told her, I was like, look, you aren't paying me. I already rented this equipment because I was running a lens for her session to get the photos she wanted, and I was like, look, you don't show up, I'm not taking your photos. Like, you can pay me, and no. And she was like, okay, fine, I'll show up. Like, you know. And she shows up, and then we come to the agreement of, okay, she's not going to pay for my fee, but she'll buy prints off me, because I wanted to know what they look like from the professional lab. I had no idea if they were good or, like, you know, just trusting a lab, like, you don't know. And so that was our agreement. No contract, we agreed. I'm going to give her all the photos I get. She's going to purchase all of them.
At your price?
At my price. She's going to purchase my prints. So, like, you know, just you could get a frame, just like a canvas. She's gonna.
Yeah.
That was our agreement. And I was like, okay, it's fine with me. I make more money, and I actually lowered them than my average cost because I just wanted to see. And so I did a really quick turnaround time. I think I gave her photos back in 3 days, and I gave her 100 photos.
But you gave her the photos. You didn't give her the prints. So she can go get her own prints, right?
No. So, well, yeah, technically. So I gave her gallery, and in her gallery, which I have a website, this gallery.
Oh,
and,
okay.
on there I have the store, and she got 100 photos, which is already more than this. Oh, and she went overtime on the session. So it was really a $400 session we ended up doing, but that's another story. And I was just like, whatever, I'll take the loss. Because she's going to buy prints, and I just really wanted to know what the prints look like. Because I don't feel comfortable to my clients saying, okay, you can purchase a canvas for me, and then the canvas is blurry. Mm-hmm. Like, I just really wanted to know what it looked like, and I was so early at the time that I was like, okay, yeah, that's a good agreement. Mm-hmm. And I don't even think there was a markup. Like, I don't remember how much it was, but, so for, like, time goes on, you know, I deliver her gallery, and she's like, okay, thank you, I love him so much. And then she was like, this photo's weird. Can you change it? And I was like, okay, I can change the photo.
Edit it, different?
Yeah, and then she said, like, I didn't edit it right. And I was just like, okay.
Like, how so? That was too dark or something?
No, she didn't like her hair. And I'm very good at Photoshop. I can do pretty much anything, but I don't like to do it. Like, if I'm doing a photo session, I don't want to remove your arm. Like,
exactly.
I can do it. I'm trained and I know how to do it.
You don't want to have to do it.
It's like in the moment. Yeah, I don't like the artificial.
Yeah, and a lot of people request it, and it's fine. But if you request it beforehand, and I know the price can accommodate that, it takes me time. Like,
has more hours.
Yeah, and so you know, she had me change her hair in a few photos, which is fine. That wasn't hard to do.
Like hair color, or
like flyaway, like her hair. Like I removed
was
the
it windy?
Yeah, I removed a flyaway, but there was just like a little piece, like, and she just didn't. I don't know.
She was being.
It's fine.
She was.
I
being
I get it.
Cool about it.
Yeah,
probably.
and so I edit it and I give back to her 100
She
photos.
knows you're like young too, like really.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
And I get it back. I get it back to her, and she was like, "Okay, I'm gonna purchase them." And I was like, "All right." Week goes by. I'm like, you know, hey, you gonna purchase the prints? She's like, yeah, I'll do it. Then she reaches out to me again the week later. She's looking at it to print. I have some friends that need a photographer. I'm gonna send them your way. And I was like, okay. And then, like, the way she worded it was like, if I do it for free. And I was like, well, you can send them my page with my pricing on it. And then I didn't get a response back. And so, like, just at this point, it's a month. And my gallery ends at 30 days. That's in my contract. That's everywhere. I tell her there. I tell her in messages, updates, like, your gallery deletes at 30 days. And so a day before her gallery deletes, she purchases 3 prints. Wallet-sized prints. And I was just like, whatever. Like, I've already taken the loss at this point. And then I was like, she's already scammed me out of getting 100. But, like, I give I give 10 to 15 photos. You know, if it's a $400 package, which is pretty much what she wanted to do, that would have been 20 photos.
But she couldn't from her gallery, she couldn't download those, could she?
She can.
So that's what I'm saying. She could download them and go to
That's probably what she did.
Or something.
No, so I'm gonna get into that.
Put them on a flash drive.
So
She just hit a lick on you.
No.
Yeah, I think she did.
Let me get into that. So she purchases the prints, and the next day, like, her gallery expired, they're gone. I pull it up. She did not download a single photo.
Really? You can tell.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I
So
can
she
see
just
your
wanted to
activity.
waste your time.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Okay.
I can see which ones you heart. I can see which ones you send. Which one, if you single download, I can see, all of that. And I can make it where you can't download too.
Yeah, because I would see, like, is it a difference? Like, if I were to take my photo and have it become
That's called
printed
print
out,
release. I have to allow that. Otherwise, you are stealing my work, and I can sue you.
You're right. That is stealing
But
your
it's
work.
it's not that I wouldn't find out. I mean, like, how am I gonna find out? But yeah, you can purchase from my store. I mean, like I'm not that much more than Walgreens.
Exactly.
And actually the work comes out better than Walgreens.
Okay, so that's what I was wondering. Cost wise compared to Walgreens, like how maybe a couple dollars or something.
And like when it all was said and done. Okay, yeah, I saw that. So when it's all said and done, she ended up pretty much stealing like $3,000 from me.
Jeez.
She got free labor off you.
And I still haven't heard anything from her.
Did you ask her about, like, or do you say anything? Because she bought some prints. I mean, like a couple just.
I lost money because it cost more to make those prints than it did to make anything.
And you had to rent the lens and spend your time.
Yeah, that was a big loss. I had more than that, but it's
let's look forward to the new customers.
Oh yeah, my last client was actually my wedding client, and I have a wedding next weekend.
Nice.
Next weekend, and
Don't miss
and so I did her engagement photos, and they're awesome.
Sweet.
So.
Well, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you? And
what's your handles?
Yeah, where
your website?
My website is lorianpate.com. LORIANNPATE.com. And then my Instagram's Lorian Photo.
Okay,
so.
Got you.
Lorian Photo.
All right, well, you guys look for Lorianne's new stuff coming out. Look for new videos from us coming. We are sorry about the delay on these last couple. Sean and I have been dealing with finals, and so we're putting a lot of time and effort towards those. But we appreciate you guys tuning in, and y'all have a good one.
Peace out, guys.